After Felix added the deadly poison into Bob's food and drinking water, Bob returned to the dining table to finish his meal. But when he attempted to eat the poisonous food, a dead, stinky rat fell from nowhere and landed in Bob's food. The dining table began to smell, so they rushed out, and all of the food on the table was condemned, which enraged Felix. Loveline's mother persuaded her husband to accompany her to a shrine to discuss what the chief priest from the mysterious goddess's village had said about their only daughter Loveline. When they arrived, they explained everything to the chief priest, including how their daughter had only 12 months to live in the world. "Granddaughter of Ikemefunda, you have come to the right place. I have the power and might to make the goddess forget about your daughter forever, if only you can provide the sacrifice the gods require," said the chief priest. "Ezemuo, we are willing to make any sacrifice for our daughter's sake," Loveline's dad said. "Kindly let us know what is required for the sacrifice, Ezemuo, and we will gladly provide it," said Loveline's mother. "For the sacrifice, the gods asked for a 10-year-old girl," Ezemuo stated. "Why, Ezemuo, would the gods require human beings as sacrifices rather than animals or other offerings?" Loveline's dad asked curiously. "Your daughter would be replaced by that 10-year-old girl," said the chief priest. "All right. If the goddess would permanently leave my daughter, we would bring a 10-year-old girl," said Loveline's father. "The 10-year-old girl must be brought for the sacrifice within 3 days," the chief priest said. On their way back home, Loveline's mum asked, "Where would we get this 10-year-old girl, honey?" "Don't let that bother you. I will leave no stone unturned until I get the 10-year-old girl," Loveline's dad said. Loveline's father sent some bad boys to kidnap a 10-year-old girl, and they eventually abducted a poor, miserable orphan who was begging on the street with her old, poor, blind grandmother. They kidnapped the little girl, leaving the old blind woman, who sadly cursed those boys, saying, "Whatever you people want to do with my poor granddaughter, it shall never work." Loveline's parents took the poor orphan to the deadly shrine the next morning, and as soon as the chief priest saw her, he said, "This is a great sacrifice." When they handed over the poor girl to the chief priest, he said, "It is finished, so you can go." Loveline's parents departed from the shrine with joy. At midnight, the chief priest tied the poor girl's eyes, legs, and hands and took her to where he wanted to kill her and use her as a sacrifice. As he was about to kill the poor girl, suddenly the girl turned into the mysterious goddess, and the chief priest wanted to run, but the mysterious goddess held him spiritually and said in a mysterious voice, "This should be the first and last time you cross my boundary, and if you do so again, I will not spare your life." The next morning, Loveline's parents were having breakfast on the dining table when the poor girl appeared in front of them. "Jesus!" they screamed simultaneously. They pleaded, "Please do not kill us! Please do not kill us!" "I did not come to kill you. I came for business," the poor girl spoke in the voice of the mysterious goddess. "What kind of business are you talking about, please?" Loveline's father responded. "Since you succeeded in killing me, you must care for my grandmother until she dies, which you can do by transferring 20 million naira to this account number," the poor girl said. "Please, we do not have that much money. We only have 5 million naira," Loveline's mother said. "Will you send the 20 million naira or not?" The little girl said this angrily as she walked up to them. "Okay, I will send it," he said. Thereafter, he transferred the money to the account number, and immediately after he sent it, she disappeared. A moment later, a strange lady went to the unfinished building where the kidnapper had tied the poor girl up. "How did you get here, pretty girl?" she asked. "I was kidnapped," the poor girl responded. "Oh my goodness. I heard your voice and decided to come and help you," the strange lady said. "Thank you, Auntie, and God bless you," the poor girl said. The strange lady then took her to her grandmother's hut. "Is this where you live?" the strange lady asked. "Yes, Auntie, I do not have anyone other than my blind grandmother," she replied. The strange lady went to get them food. "My daughter, how did you get away from the people who took you away?" Grandma asked. "Grandma, I am not sure what happened, but I noticed something strange when a husband and wife came to Carrie where I was staying," she said. "What happened?" "Grandma, I fell asleep as soon as they arrived to carry me, and when I awoke, I did not see anyone until this morning, when the auntie arrived to save me. My daughter is the handiwork of God." A moment later, the strange lady arrived and said, "Mama, little angel, I want to relocate you people to a better place, and I will take good care of you." "Who are you, please?" Grandma asked. "I am from this town, but I live in the United States. I only came to Nigeria 2 days ago, and all I want is to help you and your granddaughter," the strange lady said. She persuaded them to follow her, and they eventually decided to follow her. She took them to a very beautiful house that she bought for them with a whole lot of foodstuffs inside, and then she took the blind woman to a hospital where she eventually recovered her sight. After that, she established a profitable business for the woman and enrolled the little girl in a prestigious school. When she was about to leave, she said, "My angel, my mother sent me to help you and change your life. I have completed all of her instructions, so I must leave now." As she was about to leave, the little girl held her hand and asked, "Auntie, can you tell me who your mother is?" "My mother is the Queen of Queens in her kingdom," she responded, and then left them. The following morning, Loveline's parents went to the shrine and asked the chief priest if their sacrifices were accepted and why the little girl appeared to them. The chief priest explained that the little girl appeared to show them that their sacrifice had been fully accepted and that their request had also been granted. They left the shrine cheerfully and kept the secret from Loveline. Felix went to a spiritualist's place with Adana and Bob's picture after attempting to kill King Bob several times, but failing. "What do you want me to do for you?" the spiritualist asked. "My lord, I want this lady to hate her husband with a passion and turn him into a slave and make her husband do whatever she asks him to do without hesitation," Felix said. The spiritualist pulled out a mysterious bottle. "Young man, take this bottle. Wake up at midnight and call their names 3 times, commanding them to do whatever you want them to do, and then hide the bottle where no woman or man can see or touch it. Because if they do, these people will be set free, and you will be prepared to face the consequences," the spiritualist said. "Thank you, my lord. I will do exactly as you say," Felix replied, and then left. A few hours later, he went to the palace and said, "Do whatever you want with your wife today, my king, because nobody knows what will happen tomorrow." "Felix, you sound strange. What exactly are you talking about?" King Bob asked confusingly. "Your Majesty, please do not be perplexed. It's a saying my father always said while we were growing up. He says it to emphasize that today is a gift, and we should always take advantage of it to the fullest. You are aware that a lot is going on in the world today, which is why I advised you to eat, drink, and enjoy with your wife while you are still alive, because no one knows what will happen tomorrow, Felix responded, trying to be humorous. Oh, I understand where you are driving to. You are correct, but one thing is certain. My wife and I will happily live until we are old and join our ancestors. Felix gave a fake smile and said, "So it shall be." Felix awoke at midnight and took up the mysterious bottle that the spiritualist gave him. He called Adana and Bob's names 3 times and said, "Adana, I command you to hate your husband as your worst enemy and turn him into a slave, as well as to do whatever I ask. Bob, I command you to be your wife's slave and do whatever she asks without hesitation." Felix then hid the bottle in his room where no one could see it. A few hours later, Adana woke up from sleep, and when she saw Bob on the same bed with her, she tapped him angrily. When Bob woke up, Adana said, "Bob, are you mad? What gave you the audacity to sleep in the same bed with me?" "My queen, I do not get it, but this is our matrimonial bed," Bob replied. "You must be very stupid. My friend, go to the kitchen and prepare my breakfast. I want it ready in the next 30 minutes, Queen Adana commanded. "Okay, my queen," King Bob responded and rushed to the kitchen to begin preparing breakfast for his wife. When the palace chef saw him trying to cook, she said, "Please, Your Majesty, it is not appropriate for a great king like you to cook. Instead, simply tell me what you want to eat this morning, and I will prepare it for you." "Do not worry. I intend to make breakfast for my wife this morning," Bob replied. "Oh, that is fantastic and outstanding. But can I assist you?" the chef asked. "Not at all, I am okay," he replied. The chef left the kitchen, thinking that Queen Adana was probably pregnant, which is why the king happily prepared breakfast for her. A few moments later, King Bob finished preparing the breakfast and placed it on the dining table, before going to Queen Adana's room to inform her that it was ready. "Your Majesty, your breakfast is ready," he said. "Where?" Adana asked. "At the dining table," he replied. "Did I mention I want to eat it at the dining table? Will you run and bring me my breakfast?" Bob dashed to the dining table and brought the food as Adana ordered. "What is the meaning of this nonsense you prepared for me?" Adana asked angrily. "I am sorry, Your Majesty, but this is your favorite breakfast," Bob responded. "Did I tell you I want to eat it this morning?" she asked. "I am sorry, Your Majesty, but you could have told me what you wanted to eat." "Why did you not ask me before you prepared this rubbish? Get this thing out of my sight before I pour it on your body right now," Adana shouted at him. "Okay, so what do you want me to prepare for you again?" Bob asked. "Are you deaf? I told you to leave my presence, and you are still here asking me stupid questions," Adana said. "I heard you clearly, Your Majesty, but I would like to know what you want me to prepare for you this morning." Adana became angry and poured the hot food on King Bob. "Your Majesty, why did you pour me this hot food?" Bob asked with teary eyes. "Bob, are you mad? How dare you ask me such a stupid question?" Adana asked angrily. "I am sorry, Your Majesty," Bob apologized. "My friend, pack these things and leave my presence," Adana commanded. "Okay, Your Majesty," he responded, and as he was about to leave, Adana called him again. "Hey, Mr. Man, come back here. Keep those plates on that table. Take off this bedspread and duvet, and pack my dirty clothes to wash right now." "Okay, Your Majesty, but should I wash them in a washing machine?" Bob asked. "Use your hands to wash them," Adana replied. Bob packed the clothes outside, and when their servants saw him, they dashed to him to take the clothes, but he stopped them. They began to wonder what had happened to the king, Felix arrived at the palace a few moments later to see if his charm was working, and he was surprised to see Bob washing clothes with his hands. "My king, what is going on? Why are you washing clothes when you have so many servants in your palace?" Felix asked fakely. "I just want to do it. What I am doing is called exercise, so I am exercising my body," he replied. "That is really good," Felix responded, and went into Adana's room. "My queen, how are you?" Felix asked. "Mr. Felix, I am fine. How about you and your family?" "We are fine. I saw your husband doing a great job outside," Felix said. "Yes, I actually gave him the work. He is just too lazy for my liking, so he has to work," Adana said. "Wow, I am so proud of you, my queen. But there is something I would like to tell you," Felix said. "What is that, please?" "Since the king is lazy, why not turn him into your slave and have him wash your clothes, cook your food, clean your room, and so on?" Felix suggested. "That is a great idea, but he has already started," Adana responded. And as they were conversing, Bob walked in. "Your Majesty, I have finished washing the clothes," Bob said. "Good, Bob. From now on, you will wash my clothes, clean my room, cook for me, and drive me wherever I want to go. Is that clear?" Adana asked. "Your Majesty, I heard you well and clearly," he replied. "Now go make rice and stew for me and your friend Felix," Adana said. "All right, my queen." Adana then summoned all of their guards and maidens and said, "From now on, none of you should wash our clothes, clean our rooms, or cook our meals. The king will do it all. With all due respect, your Majesty, it is extremely inappropriate for the king of this great kingdom to wash clothes, cook, and even clean his rooms," the chief guard said. "Eboob, are you mad?" King Bob asked the chief guard. "Please, my king, I apologize if I offended you, but what the queen said was completely inappropriate," the chief guard said. "Eboob, what is your problem with what he said? Am I complaining?" King Bob asked angrily. "Please forgive me, my king and queen," Eboob said. "Please, my queen, go ahead," Bob said. "That is all I have to say, my king," Adana responded. One day, King Bob was having a serious meeting with the Nowu, the Prime Minister, and members of his cabinets in the palace. While the meeting was going on, Queen Adana walked in and greeted Onowu and the cabinet members politely. "Bob, why did you not wash the dirty clothes I told you to wash? And why is my breakfast not ready?" Queen Adana asked angrily in front of those cabinet members. "Your Majesty, do you realize you are speaking with the king of this great kingdom?" Onowu asked curiously. "Onowu, Bob is the king to the people of this kingdom, but not to me. He is my slave, and he is aware," Queen Adana replied. "My king, what is going on?" they asked desperately. "Well, she is right. My queen, I apologize for not being able to wash those clothes and prepare your breakfast. The reason is that I am attending an urgent meeting. I will do so as soon as I finish the meeting." King Bob apologized. Adana went inside, soaked the clothes in detergent, and brought them to Bob to wash while he was with his cabinet members. King Bob innocently collected the clothes and began washing them. "Please let us continue with the meeting," King Bob said. "Your Majesty," they screamed. "What sort of disgrace and embarrassment is this?" Onowu asked. "What are you all talking about?" "I am enjoying what I am doing," King Bob said. "Your Majesty, if you do not stop embarrassing the throne of Kansas, a kingdom, you will be dethroned. Please let us go," Onowu said, and they stormed out in anger. Felix went to the palace one day and told Queen Adana that she should kill her husband, King Bob, and Adana agreed. "Mr. Felix, I will kill him, but I have never killed anyone before, so how will I do it?" Adana asked. Tonight, while he was sleeping, Felix said, "Use a pillow to press his face forcefully until he dies. This is the simplest way to kill him." "Okay, I will do exactly as you said," Adana replied. Adana then instructed Bob not to lock his door at night, because she would come in to sleep at any time, and her husband innocently left it unlocked. At midnight, Adana woke up and tiptoed to her husband's room with a pillow. Just as she was about to kill King Bob, Ibube, the chief guard, rushed out of Bob's wardrobe and held Adana's hands from behind. "My queen, what is going on? Why do you want to kill our king?" Ibube asked. "Ibube, what are you doing in my husband's room at this time of night?" Adana asked. Suddenly, King Bob woke up. "What is going on here?" King Bob asked. "My king, could you imagine Ibube attempting to kill you with this pillow? If not, I came in immediately," Queen Adana said. "What? Ibube, why did you want to kill me?" Bob asked angrily. "My king, the queen tried to kill you with this pillow," Ibube replied. "How dare you tell lies about my wife?" Bob slapped Ibube severely. Bob and Adana then ordered the palace guards to tie Ibube's legs and hands and confine him to a palace cell. The following morning, the news of Ibube attempting to kill the king became talk of the town. They took him out of the palace cell so that the king could decide whether he should be burned or buried alive for attempting to kill the king. "Please, Your Majesty, people of Kansas Kingdom, I am innocent," Ibube cried out. "Will you shut your mouth? What were you doing in the king's room at that time of night?" Onowu asked. "Onowu, I can explain," Ibube said. "You have just a minute to explain," Onowu said. "I was about to go to the king's room yesterday when I overheard the queen asking the king's friend how she would kill the king. The king's friend instructed her to use a pillow and press the king forcefully on his face while he was sleeping, and the queen agreed to kill. She then went to the king's room and told the king not to lock his door at night because she would come there and sleep. So, when I realized the king was sleeping, I quietly sneaked into his room and entered his wardrobe, where I slept off. 3 hours later, the queen walked in, and as soon as she opened the door, I woke up and gradually opened the wardrobe to see if she truly wanted to kill the king. As she was about to kill the king, I rushed out and held her hands, and the king awoke," Ibube explained. They found it difficult to believe Ibube because they trusted Queen Adana so much. They all assumed that someone paid Ibube to kill the king. Thereafter, King Bob ordered the youth of the kingdom to take him to a forest and bury him alive. As they were about to take Ibube out of the palace, one of the palace maidens named Kioma, who was in love with Ibube, came out and screamed, "Please, Ibube is innocent." "How did you know he is innocent?" Onowu asked. "I noticed this morning while cleaning the king's room that the CCTV cameras in his room were turned on. So while Ibube was explaining what happened, I quickly went to King's room to watch what happened last night on the CCTV cameras, and it was exactly what Ibube described," Kioma explained. The king, Onowu, the youth president Kioma, and the king's cabinet then dashed to the king's room to confirm whether what Kioma said was true or false. When they arrived, the king switched his TV to a CCTV camera, and they began watching what happened that night, eventually believing that Ibube was truly innocent. After discovering the truth, they set Ibube free and began confronting Queen Adana. However, despite everything, King Bob was still supporting his wife due to the mysterious spell that Felix had cast on him and Adana. "Your Majesty, Now that everyone has confirmed that the queen was the one who tried to kill you, what is your verdict? Onowu asked. Well, there is nothing I can do because it was a mistake. I believe the queen was drunk and was playing with me while I was sleeping, the king said. Yes, my king. It was a mistake, and I was only playing with the king because I was drunk last night, Queen Adana replied. Your Majesty, the law of our land states that anyone who attempts to kill the king or the next king of this kingdom, regardless of position, must be buried or burned alive. Therefore, the queen has violated the law and must face the consequences, Onowu stated. Onowu, you just heard the queen admit that it was a mistake, so please forgive her, the king said. Your Majesty, what exactly are you saying? Have you forgotten that you are the ruler of this kingdom, and the entire population of this kingdom looks up to you? The king's cabinet asked. I know, which is why I am pleading with you to forgive the queen. Your Majesty, I believe you are aware that no one is above the law, so we are giving you 3 days to decide on the punishment that should be given to the queen for violating the law of the land. And if you do not decide within those 3 days, you and the queen will be dethroned, Onowu said, and everyone left. The next day, Felix invited Adana to his house while his wife was not present, and when Adana arrived, he said, My queen, I have a wise plan for the situation on the ground. I do not want your husband to lose the kingship, so let us play a game. I too do not want my husband to lose the throne. But what kind of a game are you talking about? Adana asked. I want you to tell your husband to instruct the youth of this kingdom to bury you alive on that day, and then I will follow them to where they will bury you alive. And after they bury you, I will return quickly with some boys and dig you out immediately, Felix said. Mr. Felix, this is a dangerous game. I cannot risk my life like that. What if I die before you arrive to dig me out of the ground? Adana asked. Adana, stop asking stupid questions and follow my instructions, Felix commanded. Okay, I apologize, Mr. Felix. I will do it, Adana replied. Adana then went to her husband, King Bob, and told him what Felix had instructed her to do, and the king gladly agreed to order the youth to bury his wife alive. On the day they planned to bury Queen Adana alive, Felix's wife was complaining bitterly to Felix about the destructive rats who ate her clothes, foodstuff, electrical appliances, and so on. So they decided to call fumigators to fumigate the entire house. As soon as the fumigators arrived, Felix went to the palace to see if his evil plan would work out as planned. An hour later, the fumigators finished fumigating the whole house, and Felix's house girl went inside to tidy up Felix's room before he returned. While she was cleaning the room, she saw one of the destructive rats in Felix's wardrobe, so she rushed downstairs to call the gate man to assist her in killing the rat. When she told her madam that she had found one of the rats, she followed her. So 3 of them went to the room, locked the door, and they began looking for it. They searched thoroughly for the rat, and while they were looking for it, the rat ran under Felix's bed. So they decided to gently move the bed in order to kill the rat. As they moved the bed, the rat fled again, but the gateman pursued it and killed it. As they were about to move the bed back to its original position, Felix's wife glanced at where Felix had buried the mysterious bottle that the spiritualist had given him and warned him not to let anyone see it. Why is this place so clean and different, Kate? Felix's wife asked. Ma, you are correct. It appears that Ogre has just recently installed the tiles, the gateman said. Felix's wife then struck the location with the wood she intended to use to kill the rat, and she noticed there was something inside. "Emeka, break this place. I would like to see what is inside," Felix's wife stated. When the gateman broke it open, they discovered a very dark and mysterious bottle inside the place. "Jesus! What did my husband bury beneath his bed?" Felix's wife asked fearfully. A moment later, "Your Majesty, today is the day we have given you to decide what punishment should be imposed on your wife, the Queen, for breaking the law of the land. So we are waiting for you to pass your judgment as king," Onowu said. King Bob addressed his people and ordered the youth to bury his wife Queen Adana alive in a forest, which made Felix very happy and stunned everyone, because no one believed the king would order the youth to bury his lovely wife alive. Felix's wife then instructed the gateman to break the mysterious bottle, and when he did, they were stunned to find Queen Adana and King Bob's picture inside. As the youth were about to take Queen Adana and bury her alive in a forest, suddenly King Bob and Queen Adana were set free from the mysterious spell. "What is happening here? Why are you people dragging the Queen around like that?" King Bob asked as he rushed out of his throne. "What exactly is the meaning of this madness?" Queen Adana asked. "Your Majesty, you have just given the youth the order to bury your wife, the Queen, alive for attempting to kill you last night," Onowu said. "Onowu, what did you just say? I did not hear it. Bury who alive?" King Bob asked curiously. "Your Majesty, what is going on? You issued an order that the youth bury your wife alive in a forest for attempting to kill you last night," Onowu said. "Me? Attempted to kill my husband? How did it happen?" Queen Adana asked. "Felix, you were here. What happened? Because I do not know what Onowu is talking about," Bob asked his best friend Felix. It is true," Felix stammered fearfully. "The time has finally come. Great people of the Kansasa kingdom," the chief priest said as he walked into the palace. "Ezemu, what is going on in my kingdom?" King Bob asked. "Your Majesty, the people of the Kansasa kingdom, the gods have finally revealed the enemy of our kingdom. The king and queen were under a mysterious spell cast by the enemy of this kingdom," the chief priest said. "Ezemu, who is this enemy of our kingdom?" they asked simultaneously. For more interesting episodes, type continue in the comment section. We love you.